hundreds of thousands of years ago, the Void Lords had invaded Azeroth and were almost successful, and then the Titans came in and had stopped them. Then the Titans were defeated, then the Burning Legion was created by Sargeras, and it was the foremost fighting force that battled the Void on every single corner of the entire universe. Now, we had broken that force, we had imprisoned their leader, and there is not a single thing stopping the Void Lords from once again invading Azeroth. With all these crazy old god hints all over the Dragon Isles, the possibility of all of them breaking free, how likely is that we are set for a massive Void Lord invasion? And did we really make a mistake by stopping the #1 enemy of the Void, Sargeras? Because Blizzard recently yet again hinted at the Sword of Sargeras being relevant, and they said it is in the story queue. Real quick before we get into the video, if you guys want more internet freedom, check out Atlas VPN, this video sponsor that currently has the best deal on the entire market, as you can get it for just $1.7 a month with a 30-day money-back guarantee with my link in the description below with an amazing Christmas deal. For example, if you guys are from countries that WoW can't block, you can literally completely bypass this with Atlas VPN with a single click of a button, and you can follow all the WoW news. Furthermore, you can unlock your favorite content to websites like Netflix, you can stop ads and viruses, and you can even get best deals while shopping online and keep your Google searches private. Best of all, with a single subscription you can protect all of your devices. So make sure that you have a private Christmas and a safe New Year with Atlas VPN that you can get for just $1.7 per month plus 6 months free with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Use my link in the description below and get this limited time Christmas deal. All that we know about Sargeras is that he has been actively trying to destroy the universe. He has been trying to destroy Azeroth and, most importantly, destroy all of us. He even straight out attempted to destroy Azeroth with his sword, like we can literally see in this cinematic. However, what a lot of people seem to forget is that we were not actually the main enemies of Sargeras. He didn't really care about us all that much. We were kind of just standing in his way. In fact, this was the Void Lords and the #1 goal of the Burning Legion. We never really saw this anywhere, or very rarely, but the Legion was constantly out to get the Void, and they were like the old god hunters, destroying every Void base, every Void corrupted world, and really all of us that it happened was just caught in the middle, sort of as collateral damage. Now, of course, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Sargeras wanted to destroy us, but the most important thing to keep in mind is that the victory we got in Legion when we had imprisoned him together with Illidan may have literally been for nothing, or it was just a very, very temporary one where we believed we had saved the universe, but it was like putting a band-aid on a really big hole. Think about it. Logically, we got rid of the threat and the guy that was trying to kill us, but at the same time, we got rid of the #1 defender against the Void, and now as far as we know, the Void hasn't been defeated in any way. In fact, we barely ever encountered it since, and as far as we know, they could have the biggest army in the entire universe. The goals of the Void Lords never changed. All that happened was that we got rid of their arch nemesis, and now essentially they're free to continue to accomplish their goals, and instead of allocating most of the resources to fight this crazy fallen titan and his crazy massive never-ending demonic army, now they can all do what is in their power to attack us and to get control over Azeroth. And seeing that a bunch of worlds are already destroyed, there's not many left in the universe, I'm guessing they can now really concentrate their forces upon our planet. In fact, this is currently the #1 topic everyone has been talking about, as it is entirely possible that this whole setup for the Void, as there's so many old god hints all over the Dragon Isles, is related to this. I'm not going to get into details. You can check out the videos I did on yogg-saron, the hints on Sargeras returning, and even the possible 5th old god xal'atath. As you may have noticed, in Dragonflight, Blizzard sent us during the main questline to the times of the Black Empire, and I'm almost certain this was done for a reason, especially since some of those whisperers from there were some of the craziest ones we had gotten so far, that hinted things happening such as Teldrassil possibly being corrupted, that we had just planted in the dream in that cinematic. Furthermore, all those Il'gynoth whisperers that we've had from the past that we tied to whatever was relevant at the time are really more relevant than they ever really were with the current events. We have the 5 torches, which are like the 5 aspects. We have the Weakened Throne with Anduin gone. We have the Golden One claiming his throne. We have the Lord of Ravens turning the key, which could be talking about Khadgar or possibly Medivh. We have her heart is a crater, and we have filled it, which could definitely imply all the recent stuff about Azeroth and the World Soul being elemental. We have the Hour of her third death. She will usher in our coming, talking about their coming might happen after Sylvanas' defeat, which of course just happened in Shadowlands. Now, of course, he have always just attributed these quotes to whatever was relevant at the time, but this seems to be like the setup for this to finally come to fruition. We have hints about all the old gods, not just like one, as we had with N'Zoth in the past, which means that we may be in for an old god explosion as all of them just suddenly emerge from the ground. However, in the end, this talk is really not about the old gods. You need to keep in mind that at the end of the day, the old gods are only a tool of the Void Lords. As we know, the Void Lords are these crazy powerful beings. In fact, so powerful that they could not manifest themselves in the material plane. Like, they're just so crazy powerful. Now, the thing is, most recently, all the lore we knew from the Chronicle was significantly challenged or significantly altered. We learned that more than likely, Azeroth is elemental in nature, and it is these cosmological powers that are constantly trying to claim it. It is almost certainly not a Titan, and originally the old gods were claiming it. Then the Titan period came as they defeated them and established their order. As we know, throughout history, the Titans were defeated, their grip had been broken over Azeroth, and now it might finally be time for the Black Empire to arise once again. The Titan story told us that the old gods were sent as tools to corrupt the world souls and to turn it into a so-called Void Titan. But who knows how true that really is. Why they would make a Void Titan doesn't make all that much sense. In my opinion, the more likely scenario is that the old gods were used to corrupt Azeroth as a crazy powerful source, so that the Void Lords can finally manifest themselves in the material plane in their full form, and once they're there, they can just conquer the entire universe. Sargeras was aware of this fact, and this must never happen in any circumstance, which is why he wanted to just get rid of Azeroth. There's nothing he can do with it. He knew that if the Void Lords did this, he would probably not stand a chance against them, and for that he just launched invasion after invasion to just remove this power source. Now, of course, we as the denizens of Azeroth didn't really see this perspective. We just saw this massive Sargeras guy constantly attacking us, but there really is a bigger threat that is coming after that no one can possibly stop, as we literally defeated the strongest guy that was fighting against it. I feel like this is really going to get explored to a much greater extent to our Dragonflight, as we're just getting a ton of new Titan lore all over the place. We're also learning that the Titans are not exactly nice, and in fact, all they wanted to do was the same thing as the Void, just to create their own weapon from Azeroth as a power source. In Shadowlands, we learned that the Netrazim and Death had meddled here and created the entire division between the Titans, but it is likely that Sargeras realized that the Void is not something you can just defeat with a very powerful weapon, and Dreadlords played on his feelings, and then he realized that the only way forward is to just purge everything and just start from scratch. Now, of course, naturally it doesn't spell anything good for us as mortal, as in Sargeras' eyes, he doesn't care about mortals, we're just standing in his way. He's only thinking about the so-called greater good. In my opinion, I think all of this ties really well into the brand new Dragonflight lore. We just learned that the Titans are in fact quite fanatical, and that the Netrazim just played into their nature, and Sargeras' order mechanism was cramped up by like 1000%, so now he just had to remove every single impurity. Of course, if we want to live and defend Azeroth, we of course had to imprison Sargeras. There was no other way, but I think Blizzard said something crazy up here all the way back in Legion, as you know who is his jailer? Illidan. From TBC to Legion, he was the exact same character as Sargeras, just on a much smaller scale. Initially, he was the main villain of the expansion, but later we learned that all he did was a part of a setup for the defense of the universe, even though there were obviously many victims in the way, and we were actually just constantly bothering him and not allowing him to do what he wanted to do. If Sargeras was to convince anyone about his goals, and if there was a single person that can truly understand him, it would obviously be Illidan, who is currently holding the keys to his jail. Because of that, I feel like his return could totally be possible. They have been constantly hinting at that sword that is stuck in Silithus, and they just did in the recent interview, and it's always been something like something might happen, something might not happen. However, the reality is that while we did beat this really big guy, the doors really are now open for the Void Lords to just barge in. They had 10 years to prepare themselves since the defeat of Sargeras. The Titans are no longer a thing, so literally there's not a single thing out there that can defend us against the Void Lords if they finally launch their invasion. Keep in mind, the last time the Void Lords invaded was back when the Black Empire happened hundreds of thousands of years ago. Then the Titans stopped him, and until recently it was the Burning Legion that prevented them from doing anything. At this point in time, the only cosmological force that could possibly be strong enough could maybe be the Light, us, as the forces of life and possibly some of our allies in the death realm. However, the secret weapon to this may be Sargeras as someone that fought them for thousands and thousands of years, and he might know just exactly how to beat them. In an interview from a few days ago actually, Blizzard literally said they didn't forget about the sword and that it is in the so-called story queue, so these might as well be some serious hints for the possible return of the Dark Titan. I doubt Blizzard is going to redeem Sargeras and then suddenly he's going to become a good guy. I don't never really see that happening, but I could totally see him returning at some point in time, maybe in the very near future. Depending how the story develops, he could become a significant source of knowledge, or he could become a weapon, or he could become a significant development part of the entire Titan lore that started changing in a big way with Dragonflight, and that can be used in a future fight against the Void Lords, because if someone could battle the Void Lords, it would be Sargeras. Thank you for watching. Check out all the info on the 5th old card xal'atath by clicking on the screen, and check out the Academy for videos of real world history. See you next time.